Two teams that have not had the start to the season they hope for and looking to get things turned around. Paul Holden, host of Locked On Rockies, here to preview the series in Denver this weekend against the A's. Let's get rolling.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Co-hosting with Paul Holden today, host of Locked On Rockies. Thank you for making Locked On A's and Locked On Rockies your first listen of the day. I'm from the Bay Area, and I've been a diehard A's fan since '81. This isn't just another A's podcast. This is the most informative and insightful show on the A's, period. We cover the A's every single day, breaking down games, delivering the latest team news, and giving you deep, thoughtful analysis you will not find anywhere else. If it's happening in Sacramento or in Vegas, we have got you covered. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button wherever you are following the show. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Paul, how are you, sir?
Life-wise, good. Baseball-wise, a bit frustrated. I'm not gonna lie. I unfortunately, it's been a long, not a long start, but a tough start to the season with some frustrating stuff with the Rocks.
When we are recording this, you guys are going into what, Game 3 in Philly, correct?
Yes, Game 3. They've already lost the series. They've lost 2 out of 3 to Philly. Hopefully, we'll see if Antonio Senzatella and the Rockies defense can do it again and get their second win of the season. But yeah, it's one win so far for the Rockies. Good teams, Tampa and Philly, but and obviously the Rockies not projected to do a lot this year, but this is the time of the year for, as you can relate, where it's the most exciting for teams like this. Best chance of being above 500 is right now, and the Rockies are already 5.5 out of the division.
I mean, the division is loaded. I mean, the NL West is without a doubt. I mean, it's the NL West and then whoever's second's a distant second. I mean, you talk about just a brutal division. Absolutely. You had one in Tampa. You guys had, I believe it was the home opener for Tampa. You had it won, and they came back late, I believe, with that game. So, I mean, hey, you haven't gotten swept yet, so which the A's did, and which was rough. So we've had our home opener in our minor league ballpark did not go well. Are you going opening day?
No, I'm a Denver native. For those that don't know me, by the way, Paul, I'm host of the Locked On Rockies podcast. But yeah, born and raised in Denver, but I'm actually I'm in Mariners territory actually right now. But okay. So I won't be at opening day. People are gonna need to bundle up. It sounds like it's going to be a cold one with possible rain or snow in the forecast as well.
Oh, is that right? Huh?
Oh yeah, yep. That's the big talk right there. That's going to be in the 40s. It's going to be. It sounds like the snow and the rain might taper off a little bit, but it's going to be a cold one. And of course, classic Colorado looks like it's going to be sunny and at least warm up the rest of the weekend as it goes for April. But I'm hoping that the same goes for the Rockies. I think a lot of people will sit here and be like, oh, the Rockies are losing. That must mean that their pitching is failing them. And while the bullpen has been an issue this year, you mentioned the opening day, Kyle Freeland goes out and gives one of his best starts, not just for the early young season, but of his career. Statistically, the third best start of Kyle Freeland's long career with the Colorado Rockies. And the Rockies can't do anything on offense, mixed with the fact that they did have a lead 2-0 going in there. Bullpen immediately blows it. And, the bullpen has been an issue for when it comes to losing a couple of games to the Rockies late. But the biggest problem with the Colorado Rockies right now is offense. I think a lot of people will be shocked to hear this, but the Rockies have been a team that have struggled on offense now for a few seasons. This is not the Blake Street Bombers that you might remember. This is not the Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story-led teams that took them to the playoffs. This is a team that's averaging about 11 strikeouts a game right now. We'll see if anything changes here in the finale against Philly, but why would it against a team with great starting pitching in Philly there? This is the Rockies when they go up against good pitching. They look outmatched. They look out-prepared. And this is why, as I knock my mic over there was a lot of questions for the Rockies of Why are we running it back with everything? Why are we returning with Bud Black? Why is the hitting and the pitching coach coming back after back-to-back 100-loss seasons? I unfortunately, there's the A's have suffered a lot, but I don't seem to remember a lot of managers surviving back-to-back 100-loss seasons there for the Athletics.
Right. Absolutely. What's the feeling on a guy like Chris Bryant? Is he considered a huge disappointment, or is it a guy that, hey, we're not expecting a whole lot of? I mean, he had a rough year last year. I believe he was out most of the year last year with an injury.
I got a stat for you here.
Okay.
Going into Wednesday's game, Chris Bryant played his 162nd game for the Colorado Rockies.
Is that right?
This is year 4 of the 7-year deal.
Wow.
I mean, that just paints the picture of again, what's really tough is it's tough, in this, what we do is Chris Bryant has been very open about how difficult this part of his life has been. And I can only imagine when you've won the World Series, you're an MVP, you have been incredible. Not just great, incredible, best in the league good for your entire life. And then your body starts, because it's not just, performance or whatever. It's the fact that his injuries and his body is honestly, in my opinion, betraying him right now. He is going to go down, unfortunately, on a long list of athletes that have great careers, but were sidelined towards the end and at some stage because of issues. This is a guy that, unfortunately, not only has he not been able to stay on the field, but when he's on the field, the performances have just struggled. He was until he got his first base hit in the game on Wednesday. I believe it was like an 0 for 18 streak to enter the year. And then that was following up last year where he started the year like 0 for 24, 0 for 28, something like that there. Unfortunately, I think we have seen the dominant Chris Bryant. It's very much in the rear view mirror. And unfortunately for Rockies fans, and being blunt, this signing is an albatross, and that is the friendliest way of saying it. It's easily the most expensive money. It's the longest term commitment outside of shortstop Ezequiel Tovar that the Rockies have on the roster. Chris Bryant would have to be all-star caliber for the rest of his tenure here to make up for the lost time, because right now, and you'll probably see it, he's just not an imposing force, and that's a huge problem for the Rockies. We're talking about this team needs a power threat in the middle of this order, and they don't have that right now. Hunter Goodman, the catcher and DH for the Rockies, he's been an exciting start and providing somewhat of a spark plug. But unfortunately, I think if you ask a lot of Rockies fans, the expectations for Chris Bryant are pretty low. And as much as I want to believe something else is there, the injuries that he has gone through, and just the spring coming into the start of the season, mixed with just the Rockies in general, I just don't know if they're going to get him in the spot that he's going to be as productive as we hope as Rockies fans.
Did you like the Mickey Moniak pickup?
I do in a way, but it's just so confusing with the Rockies in the outfield. So the Rockies' best player in spring training was Zach Veen, one of their top prospects, and he's an outfielder, but he didn't make the team. Days before that, actually mere like 48 hours, something like that, the Rockies traded Nolan Jones, and Nolan Jones had a lot of warning signs after being rookie of the year voting, not the rookie of the year, but 2 years ago, I believe came in 4th place in rookie of the year voting, put up like a 4.7 WAR season, something like that. This is a guy that like 2020 would be the norm for this guy, and he's got a bazooka in left field. So everything was pointing at like, the Rockies got to, this is going to be the guy. And then the Rockies signed Thairo Estrada, who then fractures his wrist in spring training.
Giants,
and he's out. And so it seems like in a kind of a reactionary move, the Rockies go out and trade Nolan Jones back to the Guardians to get utility man Tyler Freeman, and which is kind of interesting because it's like, he's young too. He can play everywhere. There's kind of some upsides, and Nolan Jones had a tough spring. So it's like the warning signs were kind of really starting to flash with Nolan Jones. But I personally wasn't ready to. I thought it was too soon. I was like,
I did too.
Get this guy at Coors in June. You know what I mean? Or something like that. And like, let's ride. It's going to be a tough ride anyway. Let's ride it out and see where we can go.
I mean, he was hurt last year too. And then,
he's hurt.
Give him a healthy year. Give him a full go at it. I like Nolan. I think he's the potential of a legitimate middle of the order type guy who can really do some damage, especially in Denver. And I agree with you. I thought it was a little bit too soon to make that move. But
so they bring in Moniak, and it's like, okay, this is interesting, but it's another guy that has strikeout problems, high chase rate. And then I actually reached out to Locked On Angels just real quick on Twitter there, just to be like, hey, what do you think? Because it's a name I wasn't super familiar with, and when they ran it down, I'm like, this sounds like the exact type of project the Rockies have failed on time and time again, and they just brought another outfielder into the mix where the guy that just had the best spring was sent to the minors, and now he's on a 5-game hitting streak to start the year in the minor leagues. It's like, what? Like, cool. I think the upside for Moniak is great. Speed, defense, there's and he can hit the ball a country mile as one of his, I think his only hit for the Rockies right now is a home run, a big one for the Rockies too against the Rays. But it was just like, you have so many outfielders, and you have so many outfielders you already have to work with within the system and figure out playing time for them. That was the move. Those were the responses there. It's just kind of a little head scratcher, because I just don't know if the Rockies are going to give enough time to the young guys. Because I can promise you this: instead of seeing up and comers for the Rockies in this series against the A's, I'm almost certain is it a 3-game or a 4-game?
A 3-game set. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I'm with the way it's been, I'm pretty certain Nick Martini will play in right field 2 out of those games. Nick Martini is a 30-something-year-old vet who's been around, who's never broken out and done anything major, while the Rockies are still trying to figure out, is this guy going to break out? Is this guy going to break out? Is this guy going to break out? But some are in the minors and some are sitting on the bench instead of getting time.
Paul, speaking of a 3-game set, if it's okay with you, once we come back, I'd love to do some pitching previews and see what we can expect. This episode is brought to you in part by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trade. Supply House. Whether you are in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. This easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory, over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you will find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you will always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. This episode is also brought to you in part by Just Ingredients. Show them the shake, Paul. When it comes to Paul fueling his body, quality matters. And that's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. How's it taste, Paul?
Delicious. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things about Just Ingredients is I'm kind of picky about my, supplements taste. And this, especially the pre-workout, it legit tastes, the one that they sent us is strawberry lemonade. And it honestly got it straight up taste like I'm just drinking strawberry lemonade, but it helps me get ready for my workout.
You know what, Paul? Just Ingredients does offer an NSF certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they are free from substance banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients has also partnered with somebody the Rockies are going to see today, 2-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. I love that, and I'm sure Paul loves that Ingredients prioritizes wholesome, nourishing ingredients without the artificial junk. Whether you're recovering after a workout or need an energy boost, in grass-fed wheat protein and pre-workout deliver real results. Visit justingredients.us and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram. Paul, we open up on today. Actually, it's going to, when the time this episode posts, it'll be the home opener for the Rockies. It's a 105 start What are we looking at as far as pitching? I assume that the Rockies are going to go with. Are we going to see what Feltner?
I think if it should be Ryan Feltner, which is kind of interesting. You know, I mentioned kind of at the beginning, people would be surprised to hear that the Rockies pitching isn't the problem, and that's the case. When you look at it right now, Rockies starters throughout the first part or these first few games have only given up 5 total runs now. Kyle Freeland gave up a couple there yesterday, but still went about 7 innings and has shown that he is certainly a quality pitching. This is the first time for the Rockies that they have had Kyle Freeland, Antonio Senzatella, and German Marquez, who you'll also see in this series, all in the lineup in the rotation at the same time. This is massive for the Rockies. This is the heart of the rotation that took this team to the playoffs. These are 2 guys in German Marquez and Kyle Freeland that have had success at Coors Field. Go look at the baseball reference pages if you don't. Just go look at the numbers there if you don't believe me. Some stuff you won't. You'd be kind of surprised. So these guys, and what we've seen from them through the first week of the season is these guys. There'll be off days, there'll be whatever, but this is the best rotation the Rockies have had in years. And that also includes Ryan Feltner, who was the lone Rocky through the first lone Rocky started through the first 4 times through to allow runs in the start. But after going, a rough first inning, comes back and becomes locks immediately in. What I like about Feltner is he's someone that can get strikeouts for the Rockies. The Rockies very much a pitch to contact type of team, back believing in their defense, not usually overpowering people a lot with the strikeouts, but Feltner can get them when he wants to. And I think this is a guy that really wants to prove himself this year. This is his moment, really. He's been in the rotation in the back end, young guy coming up, filling in for people when they're hurt, but this is kind of the moment for him to really, I think, cement himself not only in the rotation, but just as a major leaguer, I'm not scared of Coors Field. I'm here to come up and help my team, because when Feltner's on, he can definitely do so, be successful. I do like to put the asterisks, at least with the Rockies rotation. Would anybody in the Rockies rotation lead another rotation in baseball? Probably not. But would they be 3, 4, 5? And would you be really happy with any of those guys filling your 3, 4, 5? Yeah, absolutely.
Right. The A's coming into the season, during the whole offseason, the big question with the A's was pitching. We signed Severino. We got Jeffrey Springs in a trade from Tampa Bay. And we had JP Sears coming from last year. Spring training, pitching, had a rough spring training. And all I was concerned about was pitching. That's all I talked about. Then against the Mariners, starting pitching goes 25 innings. Allows 3 runs. Like, wow, what's anything spring training mean? And then here we go against the Cubs. We go with our 5 guy, 1 guy, and 2 guy in Estes, Severino, and Springs, and they just get absolutely just rocked. We give up 35 runs in 3 games and just get hit all over the ballpark. And so now, this series, we're going with Badeau, who's our 3 guy, JP Sears, who's tough, who has been tough, and then Joey Estes, who just got rocked as well. So I don't know how it's going to go. Badeau went against Seattle. He allowed 1 run, 1 earned, I believe, in 5 innings. Got out of jams all over the place. Walked 4, hit 2 batters. The A's right now are a mess. It was going into Seattle. I was thrilled that we got a split. And all of a sudden, the problem with some teams like that is once you get expectations. And we got expectations. And I was thinking, okay, let's get 2 out of 3 against the Cubs. It's a mid-tier team at home. Let's get 2 out of 3. And we weren't even competitive. We were not even competitive. And players complaining about the minor league ballpark and that whole vibe and all the noise off the field coming to take its ugly face again. I'm almost happy to be playing away from home.
That's gotta be, it's fascinating from the outside perspective, because, it's really interesting, I think, for the Rockies to open the season this way. Obviously they're playing in Denver this time, but going to Tampa and seeing it kind of just blows my mind that there's 2 major league teams facing such extreme situations we'll never see something like this again. 2 minor league ballparks in effect, a spring training, I guess, complex if you're for there in Tampa. But it's just, it's crazy to see that, like, when I did a crossover with Locked On Race to start the season, and they're telling me not only all the changes that they've had to do, but the difference between dome and not, but then they're going to be on the road. I can only imagine that there's a lot that the A's players got to be dealing with, and that has to be a factor into all of this, right? I mean, there's
100%.
too much noise with the A's to completely ignore it. It's impossible. You can't.
I got a question for you. From the outside, now obviously I have the vibe of what's going on with the A's right now, but from the outside, from Colorado, from the other parts of the country, what is the sentiment? What do you feel? What when you look at Oakland's situation, what's the thought?
I haven't been able to follow all of the nuts and bolts, but I'm pretty broken up, man. I think the tradition of the A's, I think the history of the A's, I see the names behind you, on your background, and I just am kind of bummed that it couldn't be resolved with the legacy team staying there. And I knew that baseball expanding and going to Vegas was eventually going to happen. So, but I don't know, as it's just heartbreaking to see, and it just seems like there are a lot of people that really care about Oakland. And honestly, I think this kind of relates to Rockies fans. A lot of Rockies fans are calling for, are done. They don't want to go to the stadium. They don't want to support the team anymore because of what the ownership of the Colorado Rockies. And I'm like, look at what can happen. Your team can leave. These owners can do things. And I just feel like,
yeah,
it's so complicated, right? And I just feel like I'm not even close to being like, even remotely informed enough, but it seemed like the A's could have done more to stay, and I think it would have been better for baseball if that was the case. But now it's like we just got to work through it, and we got to do the best, and I hope they're doing the best with these players. But I just can only imagine what this season and the couple of seasons, it's just like seems really hard to be a GM of the A's right now. How do you sell the A's? How do you sell staying with the team long term when everything kind of is up and down, and something good news one day, bad news the next? It just shows how volatile sports ownership can be in certain situations. So I think it's kind of something for Rockies fans to keep in mind, even though the Rockies have never really dealt with the same issues as the A's. I mean, people love going to Coors. There's just, no matter what the product is on the field, people love sitting outside in the sun in Colorado in the summer. Yeah. There's, that's all, and watching their team play. So I think as much as I need to learn more before I can put a full take, but I'm heartbroken for a lot of those diehard Oakland fans that had to watch their team. It's tough anytime a team leaves town.
No, 100%. I don't want to go too much into it because I have in so many past episodes, but for me, I had the same feeling as everybody else. Hey, ownership. And when you dig into it, yeah, do we have an owner that has been oblivious to saying anything in the spotlight? 100%. When he does say something, do you wish he didn't? Yep. All of the above. Have they not spent? Yeah, all that type of stuff. But when it really comes down to it, when you dig down deep into it, it was from 2019 to 2024. It is unequivocally 100% on the Oakland government. There's no doubt. And I put a burden about 10 to 20% on exactly why the A's left on the Bay Area media. If they reported it correctly, if they told the truth from the beginning, pressure could have went on the Oakland government. And just so you know, they miscalculated a subsidy by $2.1 billion before 2 years went by before they corrected it. And they went back and forth with the A's on who was going to pay for whatever it may be. So that's never reported. That's never talked about because, again, great political move by the Oakland. Hey, oh, shit, we screwed up. Let's blame the billionaire owner. And I'm afraid and scared that sports are going to start to get into that because the billionaire owners in MLB is an easy target. They're only going to take the cue of what the media tells them, just like I did for years until I dug into it. And it was a tough dig. But
I think though there's an argument with, I just feel like the investment there could have been more investment on both sides. I feel like that might be the thing because 100%. The reputation of the A's and being frugal wasn't any fault but the owner, and this again, coming from a guy that is with a lot of frustration with ownership coming from our end, and people calling for the sale of the Rockies as well. Not nearly as loud, but I'm proud of fans though. I obviously there's a lot there's so much when it comes to team ownership into deep, and I'm it's always good that people are that you're hearing everything in the information. But I'm really glad that fans at least got to go out their way and send their message at least before, because like I said, I mean, no matter what the situation is, when you're a diehard fan and your team leaves, that sucks. I mean, that is a total heartbreaker. And I can only imagine, I'm fortunate enough that it hasn't happened. Colorado's mostly been expansion. So it's kind of, we've been lucky enough that stuff has got there, and I'm not old enough to be kind of pre any of that stuff. So when having pro sports is just such a delight. And I just my heart breaks for the fans, and it's tough. There's a lot of elements to it, that's for sure.
Paul, when we come back, let's get to some predictions. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Game Time. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On A's and Locked On Rockies. I recently grabbed last-minute tickets for a game in Sutter Health Park in Sacramento, and Game Time had unbeatable prices, which went more money for food and merchandise. This makes finding the best deals effortless. It filters out the fluff and highlights the top discounts in the stadium. I love that I can preview my seat before purchasing. No bad purchases when I get to the stadium. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. 3-game set. Rockies opening day. Weather's going to be snowy, cold. What do you got, Paul?
So, I mean, something's got to give for both of these teams, right? I think both teams are in a situation. The beauty about baseball, there's no ties, so someone is going to benefit from this. But yeah, opening day will be interesting. The current high right now, 38 degrees, with looks like the precipitation chances are low, but it's going to be cold. So it's going to be baseball in April in Colorado, and that'll be interesting to see how they react, of course, with the ball there. But you mentioned the Mariners series for the A's, and I think that's actually a kind of a good point here. There was only one team that had a worse strikeout problem than the Colorado Rockies last year, and that was the Seattle Mariners. And what was successful? I was there actually on opening day. I watched. I went to the opening day for the M's. I guess to answer your earlier question there. But what's the big problem with the Mariners offense? They strike out a lot. What's the big problem with the Rockies offense? They strike out a lot. So if the A's were able to be successful against a team that strikes out a lot, like the Mariners, and get the split, then it does lead me to believe that there is a possibility that the A's win this series. However, I do believe in this rotation, and I do believe the Rockies are a different team at Coors Field. I think that it's opening weekend, with it only being one kind of cold day, and there will be sun and maybe chilly, but the sun will be out and kind of more dry, traditional Coors craziness. I think the Rockies are hungry to start getting something going, because there are good bats in this lineup that just haven't been as good. The top of the order, Brenton Doyle had a 3-hit game the other day, starting to get things going. He's one of the most exciting players on the Rockies, and an elite center field defender as well. Ezekiel Tovar, the Rockies' young, exciting shortstop. Of course, Ryan McMahon, he's kind of a bit of a roller coaster, but he's had some good at-bats and some possibilities. So I think that this is, if the Rockies are hungry for this series, because this is going to be the first. I know I heard you on your division preview. I know that you think the A's are a playoff team, but they'll have to
it's just changed a little bit, right? But no, I'm still sticking with it. But yeah, who knows?
But when you look at the Rocky schedule, Rays, Phillies, A's, this is the most winnable series that the Rockies have had this season so far, and it's at home. So if I got to go with my guys here, I'm gonna take the Rockies 2 out of 3. The Rockies never sweep. They usually only get swept. So I don't usually ever think of that, but I really believe in German Marquez coming up here for in game 2 there, and being at home is going to be the difference maker to help jumpstart this Rockies offense.
No question. I talked about it a little bit yesterday when coming off the sweep against the Cubs. I'm more concerned about the A's showing some energy, competing, something they didn't do against the Cubs. The team we saw in Seattle, compared to what we saw at home against the Cubs were two separate teams. It wasn't even close. It's a team trying to find their identity. I thought they had a little bit more moxie, a little bit more competitiveness, a little bit more of that, hey, that chip on their shoulder of everyone's given up on us, and we're going to show you, which has kind of been known for the A's for a number of years. So that's what I'm hoping for. I think JP Sears is going to get it on Saturday. We haven't had any issues with him, and I believe they're going to sneak one of the other two out. I don't know which one. So I like the A's winning 2 out of 3, which right now I would absolutely marry. I wouldn't be shocked.
I think both teams need it, right? I mean, both
100%.
teams, a series win here, you shorten that gap to getting back to 500. You soften the blow a little bit, and especially on the A's side, you'll take a split in Seattle and then go and pick up a road series in Colorado anytime. That's a nice little way to bounce back and get the momentum going. And the Rockies, on the other hand, if this is a team that just gave up a bunch of runs, they got to be able to jump off that and start getting this offense, kick-started here by going after two teams that, again, it's early April baseball, but it's a good way to start setting the tone and, like you said, start building that identity for both of these clubs.
No question. We'll see what happens. Paul, hey, I know you got to get a take off. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's stay in touch, and we'll see what happens this series, pal.
And you know what? The Rockies and A's, they're going to be better than people think this year. We'll end on that.